We're making salted caramel today. So in the pot here I have some caster sugar ready to go, and I'm going to add to that some water, and we're going to let it boil down. It'll boil down until it's not quite a toffee, so it's just getting a bit of colour to it. And I'll be using a thermometer as well. You want it to get to about 200 degrees, and that will give you about the right temperature. So you want just enough water in there to cover the sugar. You don't want too much, just enough to cover all the sugar that's in there. The more you put in, the longer it'll take to boil, basically. You've just got a bit up the side, just bring it down. Try not to have too many crystals up the side either, because it will crystallize. Bring that back into the pot. Put my thermometer in. I'm going to turn it on to 100 watts. Sorry, 1000 watts. Get that going. It'll take about 12 minutes. I've timed it a few times now, depending on how much water you do end up putting in there, and temperatures, all those sort of things. Is the water cold, is the water lukewarm, the temperature of the room and things like that. But about 12 minutes will get you to the right temperature for the toffee. So let that boil away, and we'll be back when it's ready. So we're almost at 200 degrees. You can see it's got a fair bit of colour to it. It's not quite a dark brown. It's almost there. You want to pull it off pretty much as it gets to the 200 degrees. You don't want it to go too far beyond that. And here we go. I would definitely recommend that you have a tea towel covering your hand, because the steam that comes from this can be quite strong. So you want to pour in a small amount of cream to start with, and give it a good stir. You want to get that all mixed in. It kind of just takes the edge off the heat. Definitely cover your hand, because I can even feel that steam coming up towards my face, and it's quite hot. Alright, so we've got a caramelly look. Rest of your cream in. And you still need to keep pouring it quite quick. Stirring it quite quickly. You don't want to leave it to sit, because it will seize up. Ooh! Alright, so most of that steam's gone now. I can get rid of the tea towel. Keep stirring it. It'll feel a bit sticky around the sides. That's okay. Does get a bit sticky. Got a little bit more cream in there. Try and get most of it in. Add a little bit more cream than what you're going to use, because you'll always get a bit of residue in the bowl. So now, if it feels a bit sticky around the edges, that's okay. It does happen because the cold cream that goes in kind of quickly sets the caramel. You can see there's a bit of sticky stuff on there. It's not a problem. Just put it back on the heat a little bit. Not quite as high as before. Had it on 1000 watts before. I'm just going to put it on 700 now. Get into it with a good stir. Sometimes you can be lucky enough that it won't get that gooey bit to it. Those seized up bits. I think because I'm filming and I'm kind of trying to pay attention to what I'm saying and what's going on as well. I didn't quite do it as fast as I normally would if I didn't have that distraction. But I can feel that's loosening up already. I'm just gonna, don't want to heat it too much, because what will happen is you'll boil out a bit more moisture and you'll end up with really thick, sticky caramel, and you won't be able to use it to spread or to pipe or pour over the top of whatever you're using it for. You would end up with almost like a Jersey caramel once they set. And if you wanted that, that's how you would do it. If you wanted to make like a caramel fudge type slice, and you're putting like a thick caramel over the top of it, that's how you would do it. You would just get it back up to a higher temperature and let it all get really thick. You would need to cut it with a knife though. Okay. So it's loosening up. You can see most of that's gone from my whisk now. And it's all mixed in. It's getting a little bit darker as well, the caramel colour. It's not a lot darker, but it has gotten a bit darker. It's just cooking out a little bit more of the moisture. Right. Yeah, almost there. Can still feel a little bit sticky around the edges, but you're going to leave a little bit in the pan anyway. It's not a problem, as long as, like when you see it, it's all coming off the whisk and it's all nice and runny. Okay, that's as far as I'm going to take it. Okay, now that it's all mixed through, add salt. Now, I recommend that when you start making salted caramel, to get it to the taste of the way you like it, add a small amount of salt at a time. So when I started this, I would add 1/4 teaspoon of salt at a time until I got the right flavour for me, for what I wanted to use it for, and I worked my way up to a teaspoon. So a teaspoon for this. But you're obviously going to do a different quantity, or you like a different kind of saltiness to it. You don't want to take it too far. You want to be able to taste the sweetness and caramelly of it, and then as it dissolves over your tongue, you want to be able to taste the salt right at the end. So it's a salty aftertaste. Mix my salt in. And then, once that's done, we're just going to leave it to come back to room temperature, and then it'll be ready to use. When it's lukewarm, I'll pour it into a sterilised bottle and get it set up to be stored. But I won't put the lid on it until it's at room temperature. And that's it. That's salted caramel.